What is happening, everybody? I hope you are all well and loving life. Let me straighten this bad boy up. There we go. I think we're all good now. We're all good. So I hope you all had a cracker of a weekend. Because let's be honest, the weekend's amazing. Oh, I'm going to share this up in the street community, don't I? I'm going to do that right now. So today we're going to have another ripper, because we always have fucking rippers in these. I don't even know why I have to announce that, but we always have rippers in these lives. We're going to be going over some of the questions that I get like all the time, like how quickly can you lose muscle when I'm injured or sick? I get this question like literally, it'd be every single week I would have, you know, somebody ask, you know, dude, I'm crook this week, what the fuck's going on? Like, am I losing muscle? My weight's gone down, you know, or someone would say, oh, look, man, I've you know, injured my knee, I won't be able to squat for the next week. Am I going to lose all my, gains and all that? So we're going to answer all that sort of stuff. We're going to look at stress, how bad stress is, and then we're going to answer, you know, all your Q&As, all the questions that have been put up in the street community already. Now today, once again, I really want to focus on answering your questions. So if you have anything that you want to ask away. Kieran has just asked, hi James, would love to know if you are ever in Melbourne to help us poor chaps. Yes, I am in Melbourne. I'll be there for the Arnold Classic, alright? So my team and I are all going to be down there. So it's going to be absolutely fucking wicked. I'm really, really G'd for that. Because we've got a really, really solid team heading down there. So yes, we're going to organise a meet-up for sure. Which you're more than welcome to come along. In fact, I'll start posting the details about that much, much sooner. Okie doke. So yeah. But mate, I can help you online anyway, because that's how we work most of our stuff. I don't know if you guys know this, but all our coaching, all the JCF, you know, is operated online. My company all operates completely online. There's nothing face-to-face at the moment, but the support which we do for some of our top-level athletes and the meet and greets which we do. So yeah, but anyway, let us get on into it. So straight up, people are always afraid of losing gains, right? That is like literally the number one thing which people are afraid of. You guys, all you want to do is you usually want to gain more muscle, lose more fat, get stronger every single day. And the thought of one little thing, you know, going wrong, going down, going backwards and impacting your gains is like really, really fucking stressful for a lot of people. And the thing is, it doesn't need to be this stressful at all. It doesn't need to be. That's because, well, it's actually really hard to lose muscle. You have to work really fucking, where did I put my drink bottle? You have to work really, really hard to lose muscle, right? I mean, I look at myself through my preps and people are like, oh, do you feel like you lost a lot of muscle in those preps? I'm like, well, no, I actually gained it, you know? I actually grew bigger. I maintained my weight for the amount of fat mass which I lost. You know, I actually technically gained muscle during my preps. And the thing is that it's actually, yeah, it's really, really hard to lose muscle. So I see we've got Aiden on here. Aiden Batch, and pretty much Aiden's hurt himself and he's going to be out of training for a few weeks now. And one of the biggest things with Aiden is we put a fuckload of mass on him and got him super, super shredded. And I bet he, like, coming into surgery, he's like, fuck, like, I'm not going to be able to train, am I going to lose everything? The answer is no, you're not going to just lose all your gains like that. And the other thing too is that, yes, even if you do lose some of your size, if you lose some of your fullness and you lose a little bit of lean muscle mass, it's not just instantly gone. It's not going to go forever, right? You actually have the ability to retain or get back that muscle fiber size really, really quickly, okay? So let's say you're sick, for example, okay? Let's say, for example, you've got a gastro illness and you're feeling really, really shitty and you're like, nah, I'm not training for the next week because I've just been vomiting, you know, the other end's going as well, I can't sleep, I feel like absolute crap, okay? And you say, well, not training, scrap that, diet, well, I'm just gonna be a little bit so-so. What's going to happen is that you will actually deplete muscle glycogen. So you will get flatter. Your body won't be storing it as well, and your muscles will actually flatten out. You'll lose a bit of water, a bit of glycogen, that sort of thing. And you are going to notice a reduction on the scales. You're probably going to lose a bit of fat too, particularly if you've got a virus, because it actually speeds up your metabolic rate. And so, yeah, so you'll lose a lot of mass. And people will say, oh man, I've been off for a week, I've been sick, and I've lost 3 kilos. And I'm like, yeah, you lost 3 kilos, so what? And they say, it's all muscle, I'm losing all my muscle's going. And it's like, no, it's not. What makes you think your muscle's going? There's no way that your muscle's going at all. It actually physically just will not happen in that time because there's not the demand to make that muscle leave. What will happen is you will lose muscle glycogen, so the carbohydrate stores in your muscles. You lose water, intracellular water, so the water within your muscles, because there's a lot of water in there. You might lose a few triglycerides and you might lose some fat, okay? That is what you're losing. You're not actually losing gains. You're not losing muscle. It doesn't work like that at all. Sorry, I just got to adjust my charger. She's being a bit funny. It doesn't work like that at all, guys. You don't just get skinny all of a sudden for no reason. Sorry about that. You don't just get skinny all of a sudden. You don't just lose muscle. You don't just deflate all the time. It's not like that whatsoever. Okay. So what you got to remember is that if you're injured, if you're sick, right, it's not just going to go away. Now, if you're injured, I guess that's a slightly different one. If you're not using any of those muscle groups, yes, they're going to deflate. They're going to deflate really quickly. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is actually to train only on one side of your body. So, for example, if you break your arm, your right arm, and you only do curls on the left side of your arm, that really messes you up, okay? That is not a good thing to do. If you break your arm, all right, don't do unilateral exercises on this side because you actually, you send yourself backwards, okay? You develop a whole heap of biomechanics shit. Don't do it, all right? If you break your arm, do legs. If you break your leg, do arms and upper body, okay? It's as simple as that. Just make sure that you're keeping the sides nice and even at all times. You don't want to cause an imbalance between there, all right? But as far as the actual muscle that you will lose, yes, if you are injured for a period of like 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, and you're just not using that muscle at all, it's completely rested, well, yeah, you're going to lose a bit. You are going to experience atrophy. That is going to occur. But it's not permanent. It's not like you just lose that muscle and it never comes back again. You will lose that muscle, it will reduce in size, you lose the glycogen from the area, it won't be as full, and then you're going to start training it and it'll come back within a matter of weeks, okay? So you're not going to just lose a massive amount of muscle because you're not using it, all right? Obviously, if you get injured, it is best to keep using that body part as much as possible, but at the same time, sometimes you can't. If you've got a broken arm, well, fuck, you can't use it for anything, all right? If you've sprained your ankle, you'd want to try and heal it as quickly as possible, keep walking on it, and then perhaps, do some exercises around it to keep your quads and your hamstrings still going, like leg extensions, leg curls, stuff like that, all right? Now, Dalibor has just said, so if you're fat, the gastro's on your side. Yes, it actually is. So getting sick is one of the best things for your metabolic rate in terms of increasing it because you synthesize a whole heap more protein, you actually burn, your metabolic rate actually increases massively. So if you want to lose a shitload of weight, then yeah, you just literally get crook. You get sick all the time and you will lose fat from that. Right? Probably not the best way to do it though. Just going to put it out there. All right. Liam Murphy's just said, hey Ledge, any tips on leaning out the face? Body's leaning down on a high amount of volume of food on your program, but I find my face isn't. Man, it's a really good question. As far as specific body fat, specific areas on your body losing fat goes, it's really hard to say how that happens anyways to make it work. Now, the stress is generally a symptom, the face is generally a symptom of stress, all right? So if you're really, really stressed, your face will tend to actually lose it. That's why when people get really stressed, they often look gaunt and they look like they're like a stunned mullet. I would suggest that you can stress yourself out more if you want to do that. But probably the best thing out of everything that I've seen is actually improving your health and immune system. So when you get really, really crook and you're just constantly sick, or if you're taking corticosteroids, you'll actually notice that your face gets really, really puffy. And so when you get you're immunosuppressed and whatnot, it just seems for whatever reason it just gets really, really puffy. And so when you actually fix this, it tends to go away. So that could be the thing with you, Liam, is that we'll just literally have to keep going and making you healthier and healthier and healthier, and that's it. Okay, that could be one thing. The other thing is we just get you fucking lean. Your face holds fat like everywhere else, and for you, perhaps it's just for one reason or another, you just hold more there. Okay. Dalibor has just said, I was 96 kgs, then got sick and ended up at 92. It's not great, but really enough it works. It does work, mate. There are many, many ways to lose weight. This is a really extreme one, but a very, very funny one. Well, depending on how you stand on the issue. But I actually had a mate who was really quite overweight. He was about 30, 40 kilos overweight. 30 kilos overweight, something around that. And he actually went over to Europe and he lived in Europe for 6 months to a year, I think it was. And he did this, I shit you not. He went out and he partied and he got on MDMA, like literally several times a week, for the best part of 6 months or so, 6 months to a year. And you know what? He dropped, it was 20 or 30 kilos in that time and kept it off, right? And kept it off. Now, I'm definitely not going to advise you doing the Pinger diet, but it works, all right? Much like I won't advise you getting sick. I won't advise you taking Pingers to lose weight. But in the end of the day, if you increase the amount of energy which you're expending and you decrease the amount of food which you're eating, you are going to lose weight. Now that means muscle, that means glycogen, water, fat, all that, you're going to lose it. But yeah, you are going to lose weight. Dennis has just chimed in and he said, I've lost 10 kilos when I had salmonella, only 2 weeks of no lifting. Yeah, it happens. You can lose a massive, massive amount of weight, but I probably wouldn't always advise it, right? If you want to get lean. Chris Simons just said, hey mate, great to chat to you today. Left me pumped for the rest of this phase. And then the next one, mate, you're going to kill it. You're doing really well, big fella. As for Tanya as well. Aiden's just come in and he said, so the whole muscle memory theory does have some merit behind it. So it's easier to build the size back up than build it from scratch. Yeah, shit, yeah, it is, man. Muscle memories, there's a whole heap to that, bro. There's a whole heap to muscle memory and the theory that, yeah, if you start gaining muscle, you're more likely to hold that. It comes back to homeostasis. So one big thing, I was talking with a guy doing a consult with a really smart guy the other day. One thing he was saying is that homeostasis, where your body like naturally lies, is a really big thing. Set points are a really, really big thing. Your body enjoys consistency. It is best when it is consistent, and it will try to hold you within a set point. So that's why for me, I will hold really quite easily around, the 6 to 8% body fat mark, like all the time. Because I've been there for fucking ages, all right? It's actually hard for me to gain mass. You should have seen what I was eating over the weekend. I ate like a fat shit, all right? Not a dumb fat shit, but a fat shit in terms of the amount of calories I had. Like I had, I don't know, it would have been like about half a kilo to a kilo of beef brisket. That's cooked weight as well. And then I had a shitload of guac. I had a shitload of bloody, like potato fry type thingies, and then a heap of like aioli, garlic sauce, all that sort of crap, okay? You know what, my body composition didn't change whatsoever, even though I would have had, I would have been pushing 6,000 and a bit calories that day. And that's because, yeah, the set point theory really, really holds true. The same as goes for reverse, in that your body won't want to lose muscle. It doesn't want to lose muscle. It's worked really hard to get that muscle. It's not going to just lose it. And there are reasons for this, such as, number one, when you build more muscle, okay, yeah, particularly in people who are just starting out, you actually increase the number of muscle cells that you have. And this is called hyperplasia, and it causes your muscles to actually, physically grow in size. And so when you have more muscle cells, that means for the rest of your life, you will have more muscle cells. They don't just die off, okay? And so when you have these more muscle cells, that means that these cells can deflate when you stop training, and they can expand again. So pretty much, rather than if before you had the more muscle cells you were here and now you're here, that means that this is the minimum you can have, all right? So if you then lift more and you get bigger and you're out to here, even if you stop training, you only go back to here, not here, if that makes sense, all right? I know it's a little bit confusing. It'd be nicer if I had something to draw on. But yeah, man, there's a whole heap of merit to the muscle memory. It's not as much about the muscle remembering that it's there. It's more about the fact that you will have more cells from lifting, okay, and you'll hold it there, and you have a set point at which you function best and which you're used to performing at. All right. Ty Manthers just said the JCF peak week protocol is gastro and molly. Yeah, funnily enough, I actually knew a girl back 4 years ago. This is a bit, I don't know, I think we're getting a bit off topic here. But I actually knew a girl who competed about 4 years ago now, who, I shit you not, she actually did cocaine before she competed because she thought she dried out. That's when you know you're fucking dumb. Alright, really, really fucking dumb. But that's another story that I've heard. That was next level. Dalibors has said, I hear that's the same theory of fat too. Once it's there, it can just get smaller, the cell that is. That is super correct, man. Dalibor, when you eat a shitload of food and you get much fatter, yes, your fat cells will undergo hyperplasia, meaning there are more fat cells around, okay? So let's say you started at 100 fat cells and then you get really, really fat and you saturate all those, your body has now got more demand for more fat cells and you go up to 110 fat cells. It's actually really hard. I think there are some ways which you can kill off those fat cells, but it doesn't really happen that much, okay? So once you do get fatter, yes, you will always have more fat cells, okay? That is why a lot of people, when they diet down, they never look super, super shredded because of the extra fat cells. This is when you're rapid dieting, okay? It also holds true for people who have got really, really like floppy skin. Apparently that is due to excessive numbers of fat cells just beneath the skin around there. So I've been told anyway. So yeah, man, that does hold true. When you do increase the amount of anything, it's there like permanently and it doesn't go, right? The thing with people who have accumulated excessive numbers of fat cells is that you don't have to let it permanently beat you, okay? You don't have to. Yes, it will be a little bit harder, but you can inevitably make all these fat cells, much, much smaller and lose literally all the fat. There's a way, I'll research it, I'll do some more reading on it. I'm not going to comment on it just yet because I'm not 100% certain on it. There was a way which I researched back at uni in which you could actually, there's certain training techniques which you could actually utilize to get rid of the extra fat cells, alright? So yeah, guys, keep those questions coming as well. It's fucking wicked, alright? Who we got online at the moment as well? Got big Alex D, Kimberly, Harold, good to have you guys, Drew, Betty, Michael, Aiden, Andrew, Kyle, Reese, Blakey, Tyrone, Justin, Gemma. Tell us where you're all coming from as well, guys. I want to know who's joining these lives, what countries we've got people from, what cities, all that sort of thing. Really cool. Aaron, Nikki Bensley, Joss, how are you, mate? Darcy. So yeah, the next one, which we're going on to after this, who we got? I've got Lukey Summers from WA. Welcome, big fella. WA guys, I'm coming back as well. Going back over to WA soon enough. We're going to be meeting up with everyone. So that'll be between the 8th and 12th. I'm going to send out an invite for that. Same as everyone in Melbourne. So if you're from Melbourne, comment away, let us know that you're there, and I'll be able to make sure that you do get an invite to our next meetups. What we do in these meetups is it's just a chance for all of us to get together and chat, because it's really common that you guys are literally one of the only people, like some of the only people in your friends groups who actually lift and actually take it seriously, and it can get really fucking isolating. So what we do is we just literally use these things to meet up and catch up, talk shit, talk about lifting, get in some rays and all that sort of thing. And it's awesome for you to meet people, you pick up training buddies, all that sort of thing. So yeah, really cool. Who else we got? Reese from Bathurst, Thomas from Sydney, Paulie from Burn City, Benny Sanchez from Griffith. That's the place. We've got a few boys from out in Griffith actually. They're killing it. St Kilda, Paulie, epic. So you Victorian guys are in the Arnold Classics. I'm going to be there. Johnny's just asked what dates am I coming to Perth? 8th and 12th, mate. We're going to be sending out an invite soon enough. Getting everyone involved, so it'll be really epic. Might do a big feed or something like that. I'm thinking feed, big cheat meal with the whole team. We'll go next level on it. But anyway, on to the next one. How badly does stress kill your gains? All right, it's pretty bad for your gains. Hey? Stress is literally probably the biggest killer of gains by far, like literally by far. When you get stressed, it changes everything in the way that your body works, like literally everything. And so when you're not functioning optimally with your brain, okay, you're not going to be able to perform well in a workout. So if you're stressed, you inevitably sleep shit, right? That's literally inevitable. I don't know anybody who sleeps well when they're stressed, okay? When you are then not sleeping well, you're then tired, your cortisol's all out of whack, and your IGF, insulin, your insulin levels are all out of whack as well. This means that when you go into the workout, you actually have a lower pain threshold. So when you are insulin resistant or more insulin resistant, you have a lower threshold for pain. So you can't actually train as hard. Add on to this as well, when you get a shitter night's sleep, your dopamine levels drop massively, and you just don't function as well. You can't think as well. You're just not as sharp. You won't be able to feel that muscular contraction as well as what you would have before. You won't have that drive. You won't have that motivation to really, really go hard, okay? And so that's one way in which stress kills your gains. On top of this as well, we just touched on cortisol. When you get elevated levels of cortisol from too much stress, you get really watery, really, really puffy, and it sucks, all right? So you feel like you're trying to cut, you're trying to lose fat, but you've got a heap of stress. And so you're losing fat, the scales are going down, the scales are going down, the scales are going down, but then bang, you got all this fucking water which is sitting on you, and it's holding around your midsection, so you're looking sloppy, you're losing your abs, you don't have veins in places where you should have veins, all right? You look really, really terrible, okay? That is another way. On top of this too, when you get stressed, your gut goes to shit every single time, okay? You've got to work really, really hard on fixing your gut when you get stressed, because as soon as you get stressed, bang, goes down the gutter. And when your gut's shit, well, here's what happens. Number one, you stop absorbing your nutrients as well as what you should. If you're not absorbing your nutrients well, then, you know, what the fuck? You're not going to get any food in. How are you supposed to keep muscle that way? If you're then if you're irritating your gut because it's not moving terribly well either, the next thing is that, well, it's going to get inflamed. And when you get an inflamed gut, you get more cortisol, more water to the area, and you look really, really sloppy. So having bad stress really, really kills your gains. On top of that too, when you're stressed, you just won't be motivated to go to the gym. You're just never ever motivated to go to the gym, or not as motivated as what you are when you're really, really super happy, okay? So we need to minimize stress. How do we do this? Well, number one, have more sex. Number two, get more sun. Number three, get more sleep, okay? If you can do those three big things, you are already on the way to managing your stress really, really well. After then, you've got to look at stuff like your lifestyle, like, am I meditating enough? Am I doing yoga? Am I doing shit that's like, you know, Zen, stuff that like balances you out? And then are you doing enough like hardcore stuff, like dudes going out and breaking shit, fucking tackling your mates, lifting heavy shit, you know, playing a bit of fucking, you know, hard style, death metal, whatever you want, like stuff to get you really, really amped. All those sorts of things. And then are you having enough of a social life? You're balancing that out. You know, are you working correct hours? Are you looking after your neurotransmitters? All those sorts of things. That's what comes into it and looks after it. You've got to really look at your life as a whole to optimize it and to make sure that your stress levels are being held really, really well, okay? Well, guys, on that note, I'm going to leave you all to it. If you have any more questions, chuck them up in the Shred community. I'll ask away. Actually, there's one question which I've got to answer, which is from Timmy Nesbitt, and he's just put it up. Give me 2 seconds, guys, and I'll answer this. Also, by the way, if you haven't seen the interview I did with Roderick Chavez in the Shred community, fucking get into it right now. I'll post up the link to the Shred community. It's really, really cool. So they're actually getting Broderick out to do a seminar here, and I'm going to be going to it. I recommend a heap of my guys go to it. And he's going to literally talk about anything you want. So if you want to learn about fucking SARMs, peptides, steroids, Olympians using it, doping techniques, all that sort of stuff, all right? Training better, nutrition and training on anabolics, not on anabolics, all that sort of thing, I'd recommend it. But go in and check out the interview anyway. I've just posted up a link in the Shred community. Okie doke. Timmy Nesbitt just asked, regaining 3 kilos lost in illness. Is it best to smash the clean calories and aim to regain mass fast, or keep surplus calories to a minimum as per usual? If you are coming back from being crook, you got to think really logically. When you're crook, your gut goes to shit, like all the time. You can't digest food well. So what's the point in putting in crappy food, which is going to further irritate your digestive system? Plus, you can't even absorb it anyway. So there's no point in just smashing the calories in to try and make up for lost time. Treat your body with respect, look after it, work with your digestive system, start slowly and slowly, increase your calories while giving it really good high quality food. Look after your sleep, look after your water intake, look after your mineral intake, all those sorts of things, and it's going to serve you way, way better, okay? But anyway, on that note, guys, I'm going to jump off, all right? I'll leave you all to it. If you need anything, you just ask us. If you're interested in training with us, okay, just ask us, and then we will get you sorted out. You can either shoot us an inbox, comment on here, whatever. We'll get in touch with you and we'll look after you. Okie doke. Take it easy, guys. Thank you very much for coming as always.